So I would like to show the participants, the capabilities of different AI tools, and hopefully we would also be doing some interesting demos here at the end, try to show them how actually some voice agents can also work. Of course, all the things would be done, keeping a very specific use case in mind. And in this case, we are going to talk about, agile use cases, right? So that is the purpose of today's, session. So
Perfect.
we can start now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen first, and then we'll talk about a couple of things, and then we will straight away get into some live demos.
Perfect. Sounds great. And I think we can take the questions in the end. We'll keep some time for the questions and answer. So don't worry. I mean, just, let's go with the flow and you can park your questions and he'll answer all your questions in the end.
So just a quick check if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Okay, fine. Mhm. So I think Kumkum has already introduced me, but I am not going into the introduction, again. But we'll cover. Let me tell you what are the things we are going to cover. So we are going to cover a set of use cases. Uh, I think my target is to finish at least 8 use cases with the participants, and the use cases are kind of classified in two ways. Okay, so we would be having a use case demo on two custom GPTs, where I'm going to show you an agile coach, which is actually going to do a 5i and kind of an analysis. I would also then show you some like a AI based analysis of a burn down chart, risks and sentiment analysis. It's going to do looking at a retrospective board, followed by which I'm going to get into certain things which are things that any agile team typically does in their day-to-day work, like creating product description documents, creating epics out of it, creating stories, linking those with the epics, then refining the stories by adding some acceptance criteria, creating some prototypes with like UI and all that stuff, then generating action items from retrospective boards. So these are more deterministic workflows that we are going to cover. And at the end, of course, if the time permits, I'm also going to showcase you a AI voice agent. So that's the the agenda for today. Okay. Now, all these are different use cases, and when you are actually working in a setup, you basically need to ask a question to yourself that, okay, when I am going to you know work on a use case, what are the things that I would typically look at to build up a use case? So based on my experience over a couple of these months that I've been working on these different things, I have realized that there are around 11 things that you would need to consider when you are actually building up one use case. And the things that you would need to consider is that you need to give a name to your use case. Then you need to also describe how the current use case is being operated. Okay, the is it done in a manual way and things like that. Now, if in your current use case there are certain places where you can leverage AI, then you need to pinpoint that. Maybe it's not possible for you to implement AI in the existing process in all the areas, but you need to find out in which areas can AI help you. Now, the fourth thing would be, okay, if AI can help you, then how can it bring benefits also, for you, right? Then you also need to look at the bigger picture. Bigger picture means that how does this use case contribute to the overall larger objectives of an organization, right? So these are the initial things that you would need to basically focus on. Followed by which, if you would get into that, okay, for any use case, I would need, if AI needs to work on, it needs to have certain inputs, right? It needs to have certain outputs. Where is the human involvement coming in? Yeah, are we, outsourcing everything to AI, or are we empowering our humans also to kind of get into this and give their oversight in this? Then comes tools, APIs, and stuff like that that you're going to consider. Then comes that, okay, once you have basically created something, how are you going to monitor it, and how are you going to measure the effectiveness of it, right? And lastly, of course, you also need to find out what could be the risks or challenges, and with the risks you also need to look at the mitigation strategies to minimize the impact of the risks. So these are 10 or 11 things that you would need to consider when you are coming up with a use case. Now, uh, the for as an example, I have created a filled up one over here. Like, the use case is related to, okay, I want to write epics from uh, in Jira from a product description document, and I'll be using some integration platform like Make and ChatGPT. And then I've kind of documented over here, like, what is my current process, and what would be the AI integration points and things like that, right? So this is just as an example. I've just written down over here so that you get an understanding that it needs to be filled up in an appropriate way. And once you fill it up, then you exactly know that, okay, how do I build my workflows? So, so this is one initial step that you would need to do. The next thing that you would also need to consider is that, assuming that you have done something, now you want to showcase that to your senior management, right? Because senior management is always obsessed about, is it going to increase my productivity? Is it going to increase my revenue? Is it going to reduce my cost? So people at that level will always talk about, numbers, right? So how would you basically report that to the senior management in a way which they can feel confident that, yeah, probably this is something that we need to look at. We need to invest something more and scale it up if necessary. So here is another way to kind of, I mean, this is a way to report, the savings that you are generating by implementing AI. So on the top swim lane, what you see is something that you are documenting the current process. Okay, and the bottom swim lane, which is the after one, there you are going to showcase that, okay, in that same use case, which are the points where you are automating with AI, which are the things where human in the loop is involved, which are the things where you are delegating things to someone else. So that's how you're going to kind of showcase this. There is a echo that is coming. If you're not speaking, please go on mute. Yeah, thanks. So again, I've filled up a sample one over here. The same thing, like, if you want to create an epic backlog, these were the estimated steps. I mean, the estimated number of hours that we had spent to come up with an epic backlog. But with AI coming in place, right, there are certain things that I told you that AI can do us. Like, for example, it can help us to at least read a product description document and create the initial epics for us. Okay, format the epics in a way we wanted to put it in an LM tool like Jira or something like that. So you see some of the areas where AI is involved, some of the areas where the human beings are involved. Essentially, at the end, it leads to some kind of savings. And this is what you would need to typically report back to the senior management, that this is what we have done, and we see we have been able to save so much of hours with so much of efficiency gains and things like that. Right. So make sure that whenever you are implementing AI, right, you have these things, the use case templates and the reportings in place, so that it becomes easy for you to showcase something to your management. So now we'll get straight into the demos. So we'll start off with the first demo, that is on looking at an agile coach. right? It's a custom GPT that we are going to look at, which is going to basically ask you a couple of questions depending on the area that you are going to choose. Okay. So if I run this GPT here, let me just show that GPT here to you. So this is the GPT that I am referring to, right? So it starts off with the GPT is supposed to coach me on the challenges I encounter. So if you start here, let's get started. So you see, it's going to, first of all, elaborate out some responsibilities of a Scrum Master and an Agile Coach. Okay, so it's going to basically elaborate here that these are some of the responsibilities that you are supposed to, have. Now, out of these responsibilities, you might have a challenge to do something, right? So out of these 12 responsibilities over here, you might have a problem with, say, for example, to drive cross-team collaboration across different, arts and stuff like that. Okay, so let me take one, problem area over here that as a Scrum Master I am facing some problems to drive cross-team collaboration. So I will just choose number 4 here. And by the way, you can also write something of your choice as well, right? That's what the GPT has been provisioned in such a way so that if something is not in this list, right, you can also choose something, a very specific thing that you are doing in your organization. But for the demo, let's go with number 4. And if you click on number 4, you see it first of all acknowledges, right, that what you have chosen, and then it gets into a coaching mode where it's going to ask you a couple of questions. Okay, so it's asking you first of all, what is the primary obstacle that you're facing? It gives you a list of choices. Now you are free to choose either A, B, or C. You can combine A and B. You can choose everything, or you can also write something customized, right? So option D is something that where you would need to write something. So if I choose A for the moment, just for the demo purpose, I'm just showing you A. You will see that the next question is not going to be a random question. The next question is actually going to be based on the response that you have chosen for the previous question. Okay, so now you see it, you have chosen lack of clarity in responsibilities between teams. So now you see the next question is what contributes most to the lack of clarity in responsibilities and handoffs. So again, you would need to choose some answer, right? So let me choose B now. Okay. And let's see what it says. So it first acknowledges and then it goes again one level deeper, right? And the third question is again based on the response you have chosen to the previous question. Okay, so what's the impact of missing shared documentation or workflow mapping? So we can say that our delivery timelines get delayed. So basically, what it is trying to do is it's trying to get into the root cause of the issue. Okay, so when delivery delays occur, what typically is the reaction from your leadership or stakeholders? So let's say that they ask us to push for faster delivery. Okay, so now you see it has kind of done a 5 why analysis, and it has basically summarized, right, what your problem is. Okay, and then it comes up with a list of potentially some some 8 solutions that it comes up with. So this is what you can try to do. Now obviously you don't have the bandwidth to work on all these 8 solutions, right? So you would probably choose something that you feel that you want to get started with, right? So there are a couple of things over here from where you can start choosing. So if you choose one, right? So let's say that we want to go with the first one, the first solution. Okay, some doing some kind of a workshop. So it creates a standard operating procedure for you that how you should structure your workshop, right? And then it's going to basically give you the different steps over here to explain to you how the workshop should be laid out. Okay, so that standard operating procedure, it takes a little bit of time to generate, and you see it has now generated over here and with basically a document also. Now once the standard operating procedure has been generated for you, it also scores the output in terms of a scoring model, and the scoring model is something that I have defined. Okay, so when I provisioned this, when I created this GPT, I had put in a scoring model. Okay, I had put in a scoring model wherein I wanted it to, you know, evaluate this document in terms of relevance, in terms of clarity, in terms of accuracy, consistency, conciseness, logical structure. Right. So it has actually come up with this document, and you'll see this document is basically this document over here. Right. So it has this. So this is the document it has created, which you would probably follow, and you can then start running a workshop. Okay. So that was the first use case. Now let's move on and look at the second use case. The second use case is, it's more about the operational work you do. So you run as a Scrum Master, you run sprints, right? At the end of every sprint, you look at the reports, how your burn down chart has been, or how your retrospectives, what is the feedback that is coming from the retrospective. So we do that, right? Every Scrum, all Scrum Masters, we do that. So let's see that how can AI help you in this case. Okay, so we'll take this GPT over here. It's called as the AI Actionable Scrum Master, and it tells you that first of all you need to start it here. Let's get started. So it's going to give you some instructions, right? Like what do you want to get started off with? Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's put our latest data first. Okay, so let me add some data into this. So I will take a data from my uh, from let me take it from here. Just a sec. Yeah, so I'll take a burn down chart, right? I think that makes sense. So this is a burn down chart that I have. Okay, so I'll upload it. Okay, I've just taken a random burn down chart. So let's see what it says. Okay, so here you see it's now going to analyze this burn down chart, right? So first of all, it's going to analyze it. So it creates a summary that the duration of the sprint was from so and so date. These number points were committed. These many points were completed, right? And then it talks about some observations. It talks about the blockers that it has identified in the graph. It finds out what are the different patterns, okay, in the graph. Then it gives you an overview, and then it also talks about key achievements. It highlights what were the blockers and impediments. Now, based on that graph, it also generates some kind of performance matrix. Okay. And the interesting thing is that it gives you predictive insights. Predictive insights means what if this trend continues, what is the risk for the next sprint? It doesn't stop there, right? It it goes on to tell you what are the suggested improvements that you need to take care. Okay. Then it tells you that, okay, can you upload some historical data? So maybe a velocity chart or something like that, right? So let's upload a velocity chart. So this is my sample velocity chart that I'm uploading. And once this gets uploaded, you just need to click enter. It's now going to analyze, the historical data for the last couple of iterations, and it's going to come up with some, uh, some recommendations for you. So it identifies the trends. Okay, it identifies the bottlenecks. Again, it talks about the risks that you can foresee in the upcoming sprints, and then it talks about share your retrospective feedback. Okay, so now what I will do is I'll share a retrospective report also over here. So this is a retrospective report that I have taken. Okay, it was done in Mural, and I just randomly took this, and I will just upload this over here. And now it's going to analyze this image file, right? And then it's going to come up with some recommendations for us. So when you generate, when you upload images, right, it takes a little bit of time. So you see, first of all, it identifies what are the positive sentiments. Okay. Then it goes on and analyzes what are the negative sentiments. Then it talks about, recurring concerns of the team. Okay. How has been their engagement style? Okay. What are the potential burnout indicators? Okay. So reading the data, it can clearly observe if the teams are stressed or, they are quite uh, flexible in their ways of working. So here you see it generates a lot of recommendations for you. And then it tells you that, for your sprint planning, these are some of the recommendations you need to take care. Right. So you see over here, and then it goes on and tells you that you can also create a management report for this. Okay. So this is what, you know, these custom GPTs can do. And these GPTs have been created, specifically to, do a certain work. So, and you can only identify this by, actually going and documenting the use cases. If you don't do that, then, the things are going to get a little bit divergent. Okay. So what I always advise is that first you decide what you're going to do. And in order to decide things, you follow that template sequentially. So you will not miss out anything. Okay. So these were two use cases I wanted to show you related to uh, the related to agile coaching and how AI can help you to identify risks. Okay, so now the next one that we are going to look at is a little bit different. A little bit different in the sense that we have a we'll use a product description document, and we are going to generate some epics out of it. Okay. Now to generate the product description document, I have a prompt over here. Okay. I will not run this prompt now, because if I run this prompt now, it's going to take some time, right, to create the document. But I have a document ready with me, which is going to help you to kind of, create epics directly into your ALM tool. Okay. In this case, for our demo purpose, we are going to use an ALM tool called as Jira. So this is my Jira project over here. And you will see that, when I run the workflow, it's going to directly go and create uh, the epics in the Jira project. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you first, I'll show you first the document that I'm going to use over here, so that you at least get a glimpse of what we are doing. So here is a document in my Google folder. Okay. Which is a name of, it has a name of, the product name is Agile Seam AI. And we have a document over here which talks about a particular product. Okay. The name of the product is Agile Seam. Who are the target customers? What is the problem that we want to solve with this product? What is the solution that we are offering? What could be some of the features and benefits of this product? Like how competitive this product is going to be in the market? Then what could be the business impact of this product? Okay. How do we take this product to the market? So usually these are the things that you have in a product description document. Now, when you read a product description document, the first thing that would come to your mind is that, okay, if I want to build a product of this type, right, what could be some of the epics that I would like to have at a high level, right? And imagine that if you are a product manager, it's going to take you some time to kind of, think about it and come up with some ideas. Right? So what we are going to do is we are first of all going to run a workflow using in a integration platform called as Make, which is going to read the Google document. Read the document from the Google folder, and it's going to go and create stories directly in my ALM tool. Okay, so let me show that to you. So I've created a couple of scenarios over here. So I'll start with the first one. Okay, so the epic creation. So I'll explain to you briefly what happens, okay, so that you know how the flow is happening. So it's first of all, we are going to extract the document from the Google Drive, right? Then the document is going to be the document's text is going to be extracted. The text is going to be sent to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is going to read the document and create some epics. Uh, but the epics that it is going to create, it will basically create it in a JSON format. So but the JSON format needs to be parsed, right? And then once the parsing is done, the it is going to go and temporarily first fill up a Google Sheet, and from the Google Sheet, it is going to go and populate the Jira project. Okay, so that's the workflow. Now, I told you that this is a deterministic workflow, right? So deterministic workflow means it's going to happen in a sequence, exactly in the sequence in which you see, it is lined up. So let me start this and show you. So I'll choose the document first of all. I'll choose this document. I'll save this, and I will run it here. Okay, so just see, you'll see these different circles are kind of getting shaded, which means the execution is going on. Right, so in the last end, you're seeing that the epics are getting created. Now, for the demo purpose, we have configured this so that only 5 epics get created. Okay, so now if I go and do a refresh, right, on my screen, you will see that you have 5 epics which have been created over here. Okay, now when the epics have been created, it's not that it has only created it has just given a number and given a summary. It has also actually described the epic over here. You see, it has also described the epic over here. Okay, so there is a description to this epic. So now as a product manager, right, it saves him a lot of time. At least the initial work has been done. Now he can look into this and make adjustments and things like that. Okay, so this was one use case that I wanted to show to you. It's an end-to-end use case, right? Right from the product description up to creation of epics in Jira. Now, what is the next logical step? The next logical step is, okay, I have epics now. I want to create some granular user stories out of it, right? So that's the next use case that logically comes in our mind. So the next use case is going to be shown now to you. So what we are going to do is we are going to run a workflow which is going to read the epics from Jira that we have created. Okay, and then it's going to pass it to the GPT. The GPT is going to analyze it, break it down into stories. Okay, once the stories have been created, then we are going to also link the stories with the epics. Okay, so there are two things that are going to happen. One is we are going to create stories, and the stories will also be linked with the right epics, and then it's going to go and get updated in my Jira platform. Okay, so there are two things that are going to happen when I'm going to execute this workflow. So let's do that now. So I come back to my platform here and I go and just find out where my scenario is. So this is the scenario that I have created. Okay, and I will just run it now over here. So you see now the if you look at the last section, it's getting created. Okay, so just hold on for a while because we have 5 epics and I have configured it to create at least 15 stories, 3 stories per epic. Okay, so the count is increasing, so you need to give a little bit of time to finish this. Yeah, so 15 stories have been created, and if you now go back to your into your Jira project and go and look at the backlog, you will see that you have 15 stories here, right? You have 15 stories, and the stories have also been connected with these epics. So you had 5 epics, right? This was epic 1, immersive something, AI powered feedback, gamification, corporate analytics, certification, integration. So you have stories that have been created and connected with the epics. Now, if you if you open a story, you will see that the story has also been written in the way we expect the story to be written. Like, so it has a summary. It has written the story that as a professional advancing in my agile skills, that means it has identified what are the personas. Okay, I want to receive feedback on performance insights during simulation so that I can identify areas of improvement and track my competency growth. So it is not writing it as a user, not creating a generic user. So the GPT is doing multiple things in this workflow. The GPT is identifying the persona. The GPT is creating the stories in the format we have learned in our training days, and the GPT is also linking the right story with the right epic. Are you seeing that? So there is doing typically, a lot of things. And now the product owners, right, they can go and start reviewing these stories, make adjustments. So that's where the human in the loop comes in. The initial work has been done by AI. Now product managers, product owners, team members, they can review these and start making the adjustments. Okay. So that was another use case. The next one is going to be very interesting. And that is like, now, okay, you have user stories, you have epics, you have user stories. What next? Okay, I want to refine the stories. Now refinement is,
Rajarshi, I
yeah,
have one question.
can we
So,
take it just once we are over? Let's just wait. Can you wait till we finish it?
okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So refinement is another topic, right? I mean, there are a lot of ways you can refine stories. You can refine stories by adding estimates. You can refine stories by splitting it into smaller stories. You can refine stories by adding acceptance criteria and so on and so forth. Right. So, from refinement perspective, I am just taking one, scenario where we want to add acceptance criteria in a Gherkin format. Gherkin format means you write the acceptance criteria in a given when then way. Okay,
It's
so
a
let's look into that.
BDD format. It's a BDD format. Yeah.
That's right.
Behavior
Yeah,
driven.
the BDD.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's look into that. Okay, now. So what we will do is we will move a story from here, right, to our. So this is in a backlog. So we'll move it to our sprint backlog here. It comes here, and we are now in this board over here. Okay, so you look at this, right? We have a column over here called as AI input for acceptance criteria. So the moment I drag this card from here to here, and then after a few seconds, if I do a refresh, right, you will see that the card has moved from AI input for acceptance criteria to team review, meaning that this field acceptance criteria is blank now. Okay. So the moment I drag it here, it's actually going to generate the acceptance criteria for me. So in the background, this workflow is going to get executed. This workflow is going to get executed. Okay. So now the workflow is currently not running, right? I will just run it so that the moment it's waiting, right? You see, it's moving in a circle. That means it's waiting for the event to happen. Okay. Now the event is what? The event is that the ticket has to be transitioned from to do to AI input for acceptance criteria. So let's move that over here. Okay. Once I move it and I do a refresh, okay, you see it has moved here automatically. Okay. Now it's waiting for the team to review it. Review what? Review the acceptance criteria. And here you see that the acceptance criteria has been populated in the format, the given when then format. Okay. So it has identified from this particular story, there are different scenarios, and for each scenario, right, it has come up with a set of acceptance criteria for us. Okay, so that I think is a very interesting use case that that you can look at. Okay, now let's assume, okay, it's not mandatory, but let's make an assumption. Let's make an assumption that this particular user story, you need to build a prototype. Okay, you need to kind of build some kind of a UI for this. Okay, so what we will do is we will use AI to kind of help us to build a UI for this user story, so that it helps the developer and the designer to have some meaningful conversations, right? So that's going to be the next one that we are going to look at.
So,
So this is the one, right? So we are going to
Gloria
basically
Tiga
generate.
of number
Can you
12.
please be muted, Anant,
Huh?
if you are not speaking? Yeah. So the next use case is to generate some kind of UIs for us. So let's do that right now, and let's go back to our integration platform here, and just run this. Okay, so it's now going to the same way. It's going to wait for the event to happen. Okay, and what is the event? The event is when I move this ticket from here to AI review of the user interface. Okay, so I will run this, and so it's going to wait. Okay, over here, it's waiting for the event to happen. So first, let me move it here, and now let me move it here. The moment I move it here, you'll see this gets fired. You see, it has got fired. Now the image is getting generated. I mean, the UI is trying to get executed. Okay. So sometimes what happens is this creates some kind of an issue, but because it runs out of parameters. But uh, let's see what has happened here. Okay. It hasn't yet generated it. Okay. Let me try it once more. Otherwise, because this workflow sometimes gives us a little bit of concerns. Uh, Let me try it again. Okay, for you. So let me move it here first, and then move it here again. So image generation takes a little bit of time, and it's a little bit not very robust as of now. So let's see, right? If we are lucky, it might happen.
So Rajesh, this tool has to get integrated with the Jira, the existing Jira board that a company uses, or how?
Yeah.
This is not free,
So it
right?
has
This make
no. You, for your demo purpose, you can have a free version,
okay.
but if you want to run it at an enterprise level,
Hmm.
there are a couple of tools that that offers you to scale it up at a larger level also. And Make is a good tool. I mean, if you can start small. So now you see it has kind of created a user interface for you. So if you just go and do a refresh of the board, you will see that it has actually created something, and it is over here. You see, it has created a user interface, and it has also attached it with your Jira ticket. Okay. Now, the image is not great, right? But I just wanted to show you the power of this. And I'm trying to also use Figma, integration, but I have not been successful so far for the Figma part. Once I am, with that, maybe in my next webinar, I can also show Figma integration. But yeah, at least it gives you some kind of a, initial structure to start the discussion with the developer and the designer. Okay, so these were some of the use cases that usually we know of in the agile space. We usually do that. The last one that I want to do is with you is that imagine you have run a retro now. Okay, you have run a retrospective meeting with your team, and you want to come up with some action items. Okay, you want to come up with some action items that you would need to take it forward in the next iteration. So this is what we are going to do, and the retrospective. We are going to use the same retrospective image, the one which I used in the custom GPT, right? And then what we are going to do is we are going to see that the retrospective action items are also going to go and get generated in my Jira environment. So let's do that. And we have a retro action board over here. Okay? At this point of time, the board is empty. So let me run that for you. Mm. This is an image file. Okay. So we are going to use this Google Cloud Vision. Okay, because it's going to extract the content from the image. So we will choose the file. In this case, this file over here. We save it and then we run it. Okay, so now you see the Google Cloud Vision is working. It has passed the content to the GPT. The GPT is going to parse it, and now it's going to create, the retrospective action items for you. So it's creating a couple of them over here. So it has created approximately 18 or 19 action items for us. If you go and do a refresh over here, you'll see you have, action items lined up over here. So now you can decide, okay, in my next iteration, how many things we need to take forward, and fit it into our backlog depending on our capacity. So these were some of the use cases that I wanted to show you. Uh, if you have time, right, I can show you another use case. Otherwise, we can get into straight away into the Q&A.
I think,
So
can we have some QA now? Q&A
so
now?
let's have a Q&A now, and then if we have time at the end, right, I can show you an AI voice agent also. Okay.
First of all,
Yeah.
thank
So
you.
let's take the Q.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation and the session that you have taken till now. Thank you, Rajshri. I have few questions now. First of all, the question is, the company needs to buy EU2.make a license to work on the activities?
Yeah. So license is definitely needed, right? Without licenses, you cannot work at an enterprise level. If you want to show to your organization the capability of these kind of tools, my recommendation is you start with a free license. Okay, do some kind of POCs with your organization, show them the benefits out of it, and once you have a buy-in, then it makes sense to invest on it.
And other than EU2.make, have you used any other tools?
Yeah, there are other tools also, like N8N is there.
N8N, yeah.
Yeah,
N8N is
we
there, right? Yeah.
use we would be having a workshop sometime from Eisenbridge during, I think it's during the middle of October, where we are also going to train participants on the usage of how to use make, how to use N8N, when to use make, when to use N8N, advantages and disadvantages. We are going to train them on that.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, okay. And we need to expose our Jira APIs to link all of this to all the activities to perform all of these activities.
Yeah,
The
so
access,
I mean,
will it work with access token or any other way?
no, there are APIs, but you can restrict the API calls just to happen within your Jira instance. It will not go out, into the internet. That restriction is possible.
And it will just do a, you can say, publishing work, not a development activities. What he says,
No.
it's a development project. So the person, a developer has to do the development activities and has to push to the next next stage in the Jira board, right?
Yeah.
With the help of the
So
Scrum Master.
you can nowadays, you can also do vibe coding and it can generate a lot of, code and all. But I just showed you some basic use cases a product owner, Scrum Master usually does, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my focus was just, on some very specific use cases. Let's take the questions over
Thank
here.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Ashley.
So first question from Krishna Sandeep is, are you using RAG to train your models on GPT with a set of private documents or some way? Now, the demo that I showed you, right? This is not a RAG model, right? Why it is not RAG? Because I have not restricted it to only look at, a set of documents. Okay, but you can do that also. It is possible, right? That I'm going to that is not, configured in this deterministic workflows that we have done, but it is possible.
Yeah, I'll ask
The
another question. Hiten asked a similar question. Can you correct? What if the document is confidential and can't be sent? So is it RAG when we need to use that if it is a confidential
Yes.
document?
So I mean, it for in an enterprise level, it is always good, you host these kind of things in your enterprise network. So and then you have ways to kind of set it up in a way so that the data is not exposed to the outside world. Okay,
Thanks.
so that is possible. Now, the next question here is from Srinivasa Rao. How much scope change? I mean, I'm not sure what this question is, but if you could elaborate this, it would be helpful for me. Then,
Related
yeah,
to this question, see, you have uploaded a burn down chart and all, right? Uh,
yeah.
there, it has given all the details, what is the challenges and the risk and all everything, and the patterns of the burn down chart, what could be there, right? But it is
Hmm.
not given it is not tracked any scope change in that, right?
So
Why
if your
burn down
burn down,
chart is going like that, and what is is there an impact with the scope change for that burn down
of
chart?
course. So in the burn down chart that I had uploaded here. Let me see. So my burn down chart typically doesn't show any kind of a burn up. Okay, that's why it is not indicating any kind of scope change over there. So the burn down chart I uploaded that let me share my screen so that you know what I'm talking about. My burn down chart that I had used in this demo doesn't show any significant or doesn't show at all any kind of scope creep. Okay, added scope or something like that. If so, that's the reason why it did not uh, highlight that. And of course, there's another thing. These models, they also need to be tuned also, right? Because many a times what happens is you train them with some amount of data, and then after some certain amount of time, if you see they are starting to hallucinate, you need to train them again, with some refined data so that it gives you the intended results. So that's why in every AI project, right, or AI implementations, you have a phase called as model lifecycle management. You need to retrain these models periodically if the data format changes or the business logic changes.
Okay. In the sprint report, there is a graph like this where it will show the both up and downs
Yeah,
and burn down and burn up. So that will also help, I believe.
yeah. Then what is the next question here? Can we refresh from the beginning again? Not sure what that means. Agent will do all the work. Yeah, agents. There is a difference between agents and deterministic workflows. In the case of a deterministic workflow, it happens in a specific sequence. But when you are writing AI agents, they will do all the work. That's fine. But you have to You have to create it, you have to prompt it, right? And you have to have the right tools also in place for the agent to work. Without that, the agent without a tool is not going to do, right? So we cover how do you build up AI agents using low code tools. We cover that, in a workshop. In a webinar, it becomes a little bit overwhelming to talk about agents in a 1 hour workshop webinar. Sorry. Okay, then we see a statement over here. I see is a sequential model, tool and memory seen in N10 or LC, maybe two different. Yeah, so I told you, right, that Krishnadeep, that this is not an agent. This is a deterministic workflow, and that's the reason why we did not configure that with the memory.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you have something called as Atlassian intelligence built-in, also has all these rights. Now, Atlassian intelligence means you mean to say, yeah. So Rovo is one tool which is built into Jira. But what Rovo will not do is, it will not create uh, epics automatically like from a product description document.
No,
Right?
it's
It can
not.
refine.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Roto. It is built in AI itself. Atlassian
Yes,
intelligence is when you write you can write a query in a normal
yes,
JQL query in a normal a
yes,
prompt or something, it
yes,
will display. If you go and
yes.
ask at the level, it will
Yeah,
create
I know that.
automatically
It's
all
it, it
those things. Yeah.
yeah. So it is basically, here itself, that interface is shown up. So you can
Yeah,
I have seen that.
once
Yeah,
epics are ready, well then we can ask that what are the child items and
yeah,
all, it will show. It will
correct.
automatically go and create all those things.
Yeah, yeah, I get your point. Yeah. So Atlassian
Okay.
intelligence is there, but what I have seen is, uh, using integration platforms, the advantage is you can connect multiple disparate tools, and you can have a lot of efficiencies as well. Then there's a comment over here. Rovo is disappointing for me as of now. It's coming from Atlassian's FOMO in AI. Maybe that will improve. Okay. Can we get a video of this class? I think Kumkum can answer that question. Yeah, so Kumkum has responded that we would be recording this session. Okay. Assume we need to include try-catch kind of blocks in workflow to anticipate fail scenarios. Of course, you can do that, right? So if in these kind of platforms, right, if the workflow fails, you can also define an alternative path. Yeah. Then Hiten's comment is, what if the document is confidential and can't send to ChatGPT? Now, for just another comment, the ChatGPT that I showed you was my private instance. But when I'm in my organization, right, I use my enterprise edition of ChatGPT. Over there are a lot of restrictions that you cannot, access data from the internet and things like that. So I think I've answered that to some extent.
Can
How do
can
we
we
make
link
sure
it
that?
to can we link it to the Copilot if
Yes, you
ChatGPT is
can.
not
If the
possible?
so
Because we have a
if the
licensed
API,
Copilot.
yeah. So if the APIs are available, you can connect it. There's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Then how do we make sure that the UAT by the client does not fail after all these recommendations by the AI? Again, see, AI is not a magic brand. Okay. As I told you, these are models. Okay. If you give the model junk, you will get an output also junk. So these models need to be constantly trained, right? The moment you see it is giving you incorrect results, so there could be multiple reasons for that. Either the data that you're providing has, uh, you know, lost its original format, or the business logic itself has changed. That's why you have to constantly, do a life cycle management of these models. Okay, then okay, so Kumkum has shared a workshop link with all of you. Any certificates now that Kumkum will be able to answer that will you get a certificate or not?
I already answered that also.
Okay, yeah. So good. So so I just want to conclude with if you have at least another 3 minutes, I just want to conclude by showing you, a voice tool which will actually record your conversation and book an appointment with me. Right? I mean, this is just a sample. So if anyone is interested to see that, you can just share your Google mail ID over here. So when I run when I run the demo, you should be able to you should get a calendar invite from my side. Automatically, the tool will send you a calendar invite. So is anyone interested to see that? Then you just need to give me your name and your Google mail ID. I'll run it here right away.
Yeah, you can send
Okay,
it.
so let's take Krishna, right? 1989 krish@gmail.com. Okay, so let's take this. Just give me a moment. Let me just copy paste it here so that I don't forget. Okay, so let's see. First of all, I need to ensure that the computer sound is on.
Can you share your screen? Vedant?
Yeah, just hold on for a while. Let me. There is a place to ensure that the computer sign. Okay, I need to share my screen first. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
We can't see your screen, Rajeshri.
No, hold on. You should see it right away now.
Okay.
So can you see my screen now, all of you?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a voice agent that I have configured in a platform. Okay, and also I've integrated it with my make.com. Okay. So let me just run the scenario in make.com so that uh, it does the right work for me. Yeah. So we will run this. It's going to wait, right? And the computer sign is on. Let me put it as stereo here. First, I'll run the voice agent for 2 seconds and just tell me if you're able to hear the computer voice, okay?
Hello, this is Mike from AI Agility.
Do you hear the voice?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Hello, this is Mike from AI Agility. How can I help you?
Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you? What's on your mind today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. So I have a team of 30 people with me today.
That's fantastic. A team of 30 sounds like you've got quite the operation going. What kind of work does your team focus on?
So we are a company that actually develops, online courses for AI and Agile.
Ah, that's awesome. Combining AI and Agile in online courses sounds like you're at the cutting edge of education. What's the name of your company?
So it's called as Eisenbridge.
Eisenbridge. Got it. That's a solid name. Are you the decision maker for the team, or do you work alongside someone else for that?
No, I'm not the decision maker.
Got it. Thanks for letting me know. How did you hear about AI Agility, by the way? Was it through LinkedIn, an email, or something else?
It was through LinkedIn. That's right.
LinkedIn. Raj does have a knack for catching attention there. What's your vision for using AI in your business? Are you looking to enhance your courses, streamline operations, or something else entirely?
So we actually are looking for, to build up some kind of a competency.
Building up competency with AI sounds like a smart move, especially in your field. Are you interested in exploring how AI agility can help with strategy, implementation, or maybe even training for your team?
Yeah, absolutely.
Got it. No worries. Would you like to set up a consultation with Raj to explore how we might align with your goals?
Yes, sure.
Great. Let's get that set up. Could you share your full name and email address so I can book the consultation for you?
So my name is Krish.
Thanks, Krish. Could you spell your email address for me so I can make sure I get it right?
1989 krish@gmail.com.
Thanks, Krish. Just to confirm, your email is 1989krish@gmail.com, comma, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's .com, not comma.
Perfect. Got it. 1989krish@gmail.com. And just to confirm, your company name is Eisenbridge, correct?
That's right.
Awesome. What time zone are you in, Krish? This will help me find the best time for your consultation with Raj.
So we are in the Central European time zone.
Got it. Central European time. Do you have a specific date in mind for the consultation, or should I find the earliest available time for you?
How about 20th? Sorry, 19th of September. 19th of September.
Let me check the availability for September 19th in your time zone. Good news, Krish. There are available slots on September 19th between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Central European time. What time works best for you?
I think 10 a.m. Central European time.
All right, let me lock in 10 a.m. Central European time for you on September 19th. One moment. You're all set, Krish. Your consultation with Raj is booked for September 19th at 10 a.m. Central European time. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks for connecting and have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Krish. Have a great day ahead, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, so this was a demo that I wanted to show, and Krish, you can confirm if you have got a calendar invite.
I got the email.
So this was, how you can set up a inbound call agent, right? You can also set up something like an outbound one as well. So I hope you liked it, right? That's why I reserved that at the end. Okay. Good. So any other questions or any suggestions from anyone? So over to Kumkum then.
Thank you, Rajeshri. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for the insightful session. So, guys, hope you enjoyed the session. And if you have more questions, then you can mail your questions and let me share my email address here. And Rajeshri, it would be great if you can also share your email address with them. This is my email. And session details already I have shared. Once again, if you want, I can share once again. So we have session with Rajeshri. It's a 8 hours session, 4 hours on 11th and 4 hours on 12th. And you can book your session. This is the paid session. All details are there on the page. If you need more details, feel free to email me. And for the participant of this webinar, I have a discount link for you guys. I'm sharing the discount detail also here. Anyways, I'll share over the email as well. I have your email addresses. So I'll share all the details regarding the upcoming session over the email as well with the discount links. Yeah, thank you very much for taking out time for this session, and bye for now. Thanks, Rajeshri. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.